When I talk to people in the startup ecosystem here,
Right.
like something felt just like different from talking to people in the US about the startup ecosystem,
Yeah.
right? And you had previously mentioned, like in terms of Korea, it can feel like a bubble in some respects. Would you mind articulating
Right.
kind of some of your viewpoints and observations?
First of all, I think the tech and VC ecosystem in Korea is still at nascent stages, I would say. You do see a lot of, like, for example, chapters opening up in Korea. 500 Global, Antler are starting up chapters here in Korea, and they're trying to bring in more of the Silicon Valley-esque sort of like norms here into Korea and such. And it's going to take some time for it to like properly foment infrastructurally, especially on the government level and such. I think the biggest problem for me is that there is like a translation layer that happens between the information that exists in the States and then the time it takes and the format it takes when it comes to Korea. In the sense that a lot of like people in tech, they get their information via translated, localized versions of the information that exists in the States and such. Because of that language barrier, they don't go actively on Twitter themselves and like, or look through the API docs, or like, for example, are immediately alerted to once a product launch happens. They wait, for example, for it to be localized, for it to come out in their newsletter or something, or for it to come out in neighbor blogs or something, and then that is when they, for example, get the first exposure to that information. So what happens is that Koreans get, I think, stuck into this mentality whereby they assume that that is the world, that Substack that they're reading, that Anderson Horowitz or that YC Substack that they're reading, that is the entire world, that is the entire environment.